hit me up at Vin and Sori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. We are in the beginning stages of a prog, what is it?
Saturday Night Live.
Death metal.
Saturday Night Live.
Prog death metal. Mm-hmm. It's going to be nothing but threes across the board, dear listener.
I mean, it is what it is. You guys know, everybody knows. We can't guarantee a positive review.
Guarantee you a positive review.
All right, so DJ Ben has decided to bring us a death metal stream. We are Christians. This is Vincent. I'm Soraya.
This is the Blessed Mother, the Holy Virgin Mary.
Oh, I thought we were talking about our middle thing here. I was like, that seems a little over the top. Okay, so first up we have a band called Ancients. The name of the song is Forbidden Sanctuary.
Uh-oh.
This is what our DJ Ben has to say to all of you.
Who you think they're talking about us? You out of pocket.
All right, Prog Death Metal stream. Sorry, Vin, but not sorry. When I first decided to start sharing the music I like with the village,
Abomination.
It was on a stream that featured 3 different styles of death metal.
3 different styles of Abomination.
Prog, and Melodic. Since then, I have had Vin and Sori do a stream featuring only old school and one with only melodic death metal, but have yet to do the progressive death metal stream. Much to the chagrin of Vin, we will be doing that tonight. All right, video timestamp. What is it?
We're at 6 minutes. I'd do 6:30 as a start.
6:30. So Ancients' 2024 album Beyond the Reach of the Sun definitely delivered the goods for me, especially, says our DJ, in the production department. It is my personal pick for best production quality on the album of the year for 2024. Here's the first 2 tracks.
Is this the Beatles Prog Death Metal stream?
Yes! Yes! Ancients' Forbidden Sanctuary. Let's check it out.
All right, and this is the one that's on the album, right? It's at a timestamp?
Yeah, this...
What are we looking at?
No, I don't think so. He said the first 2 tracks, so this one might be just that one track.
Okay, so it's Ancients Beyond the Reach of the Sun, is that it?
Beyond the Reach of the Sun, Forbidden Sanctuary.
Okay. All right, here we go, guys. Song numero uno. You got the lyrics coming?
Coming.
All right, here we are. Let's do it. Prog Death. Can't guarantee you a positive review, guys. I'm a man of conviction. I've been through the most. Okay,
right.
So it's Beyond the Reach, right?
Beyond Forbidden Sanctuary. Beyond the Reach of the Sun is the name of the album. But the name of the band is Ancients.
Right, but
the name of the
first
song,
one is Forbidden Sanctuary?
Forbidden Sanctuary, yep.
Okay. Here we go.
Let's check it out. Oh, what a country sound.
Country?
Yeah.
Don't you dare.
Interesting.
Let's get me the lyrics.
Yep.
guys are definitely not rushing.
Woo!
fun shit. So bum,
And so it goes.
so it goeth. And so it goeth. Martha Fokker. We never saw that movie together, did we? Meet the Parents.
Oh yeah, I did see it though. That you like that humor? Oh my gosh,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was so funny.
Martha Fokker.
There was so many things. Oh,
You know what our
my
daughter's name
gosh.
is gonna be? Martha Fokker. Okay, guys, that was song number 1. Death Metal, Prog Death Metal.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Ancients, Forbidden Sanctuary.
You look like you were really vibing.
Yeah, some of it I really enjoyed. It was sort of journey taking.
Journey taking.
Yeah, it kind of brought you somewhere. I like that.
Okay. All right. Tell
But
us.
lyrically,
Tell us where it brought
it's
you.
interesting because
I'm very interested to know where this thing brought you.
lyrically, I mean, it kind of sounds like we're talking about the Garden of Eden, or at least some version of it.
What? Okay.
Borders touch the skies, haven for the snakes, appointed by the gods to seal the sanctuary. The streets are paved
Stand
with gold.
corrected.
On the outside we decay, a window to the underworld. Kings and creatures block the way. Deep within the walls, the time has come to conquer. I see serpents, they wait in the grass, orchestrating the end of time. Pathways lead to a vigorous land. Find our way through the sanctuary gates. No asylum, human sacrifice. The pillars fall and end in sight. Leaving our home, destined to fall, a distant memory of hope, die by the sword or be reborn. Our sacred tree, stripped of its bark, rots to the core, rooted in bile. Enter the gates, obtain the light, free the enslaved, end of the night. So it's sort of like,
this
kind
is
of
a
seems like a
concept record?
spin-off, yeah.
What's that? Scroll
I'm
up.
guessing it's a concept record. I don't know.
Ancients, Beyond the Reach of the Sun. Click
And
on
I mean,
you
look
see
at
where it
this
says Beyond the
album.
Reach of the Sun. Click on it right there.
This?
Yarasulallah, right there. Forbidden Sanctuary is the first one, and then In the Absence of Wisdom is the last one. So, is this a concept record, Benji?
What? And we're gonna listen to the first two on the album.
Yeah, so,
So
right, because the next song follows right to it, Despoiled.
Despoiled. Yeah,
Is that the
'cause-
next song we're
Well, he
supposed
said
to
we
do?
were listening to the first two. I think. Yeah, look, Despoiled is next.
Yeah, okay. So it looks like it might
It's a
be
concept record. he
Yeah,
said,
it is
yep.
a concept record. Okay, and then what's the name of the record?
Beyond the Reach of the Sun.
Okay.
Yeah, so it kind of sounds like.
And this is song number 1, so
Yeah.
this is the intro to
Yeah.
the world we're about to enter. Go ahead.
It kind of sounds like this was the leaving of Garden of Eden sort of spin-off.
Some form of retelling.
Yeah, right, because you have the snakes in the garden, you have the protecting it so people can't come back in. You know, there was some themes. The sacred
snakes,
tree.
The snakes are appointed by the gods to seal the sanctuary. Interesting.
And the streets being paved with gold. On the outside we decay.
A lot of people don't know this, but Adam was actually told to seal the sanctuary in Genesis. When it says to work and keep,
Yeah.
the term for keep means to guard.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it's the same word that's used when it's speaking of the temple guards
Yeah.
later on in Leviticus.
Hey,
Because
you're awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
You did great.
because the
Thank you.
biblical idea is that the Garden of Eden itself was a temple,
Yeah.
was a sanctuary, but there were enemies, and that's why Adam was told to guard the garden.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, the other thing
Sometimes I
that's
forget about
the other
that.
thing that's interesting is that Satan, or the devil, I think was a seraph, Seraph. And the seraph are the closest to God, and they're also known for their wisdom, etc., etc. and they have a serpentine appearance. That's the other thing people don't understand about, like, Isaiah 6. If you'd have seen the angels in Isaiah 6, they would have looked to you like flying serpents.
Right.
So the serpentine sort of model or pattern is initially not a bad thing. And it's interesting because the Bible has this really weird relationship with serpents. So, like, on the one hand, it's like God made this being who is serpentine more crafty than all the beasts of the field. And this person basically outsmarts, questions Eve into questioning God and doing all this craziness. So Adam is told to guard the garden. Satan goes in there and says what he says. She listens to him. When they get exiled from the garden, the scripture says that God put a cherubim at the gate of the garden to guard it so that Adam and Eve would not penetrate and go and eat from the tree of life.
Right.
So this is kind of like an inverted kind of retelling, because here it says the snakes were appointed by the gods to seal the sanctuary, whereas in the Bible the snake was in the sanctuary, and he needed to be guarded against by Adam, and obviously Adam failed in that mission.
Do you think that the, like, modern understanding of the snake in the garden, like, it's sort of translated to be an apple that she was eating, and it was a snake, like a literal, like, slithering snake. And do you think that part of the reason that has kind of sort of been a thing now is because how in the Bible he's described as, like, a beast of the field? It talks about the beast of the field, and it tells us right from the beginning that Adam was in charge of the beasts of the field, and it makes it sound like the beasts of the field, they were subservient, and it says he was more crafty of all the beasts of the field. So it's saying, look, he was just one of the beasts of the fields, he was just more crafty. But we always picture, like, people picture a snake, but the seraphim idea. So do you think it's almost because Genesis downplays the glory of?
Yeah, I think that's what it's doing. It's taking Satan and because pride is his big thing.
Yeah.
And because the scripture says that God made us a little while lower than the angels.
Sure.
That means, naturally speaking, ontologically speaking, the angels are superior to us. So for God to introduce Satan initially as just a beast of the field is actually a demotion, because you've got God, angels, man, beast, insect, whatever, right?
Yeah, and he names the beast of the field, so it's even more clear, like, he is over...
Adam has authority over the beast of the field.
Exactly, and then they name
and
Satan.
So when
as
God
the beast
introduces Satan, he doesn't say this mighty seraphim who was brilliant and all this. He introduces him as like a beast of the field.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like God trolling the devil. Like saying, no, I'm not going to give you... It's one of the reasons I think that a lot of things in the book of Enoch are true, but it didn't make the Bible because it goes too much into the glories of these demons. They're super strong, they're super fast, they're super wise, they can do this, they can do that. And God doesn't want us like, somebody introduces a devil. He's like, for all time, your introduction is going to be, you're like one of the beasts of the field. Because it basically says, like, and the big brother, little brother theme goes all throughout the book of Genesis, where it's the younger brother that actually gets a blessing, and the older brother gets basically shafted.
Yeah.
And that starts off with the angels and men, because the angels were technically born first, and yet God gave dominion to the second, to us, the younger kids. And so, obviously, if you were the devil, of course you're going to be mad about that. You see what I'm saying? Like, we understand that.
Yeah.
As human beings, like, we don't even want our friends to get too much attention away from us. You see what I'm saying? So it's just very interesting. Like, that story is just wired into the Western world, man.
Yeah.
Borders touch. Yeah, but the first line is just a very dense. There's so many ways. There's so many different directions that you can go in, as far as interpreting that. And to your point, the streets are paved with gold, on the outside we decay, a window to the underworld, kings and creatures block the way, deep within the walls, the time has come to conquer. When I saw that, I was like, okay, that sounds like he's in a church and he's looking at stained glass windows.
It almost... Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Because it says the streets are paved with gold, on the outside we decay, a window to the underworld, kings and creatures block the way. So
see,
I just looked at that as like...
It almost sounds like
glass,
they're breaking back into the garden.
Yes.
So, like, something
They're
bad
trying,
happened over
yeah.
here, and they're trying to get back in.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, it sort of has, like, that stained glass.
See, so in this bitch, gang, gang, gang.
Yeah, no asylum, human sacrifices, the pillars fall and end in sight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see serpents, they wait in the grass, orchestrating the end of time. Pathway leads to a vigorous land. Find our way through the sanctuary gates. No asylum, human sacrifice, the pillars fall.
Yeah, that's
and
kinda
end in sight.
Interesting here. Leaving our home destined to fall. A distant memory of hope. Die by the sword or be reborn. Because we have, if you live by the sword, then you die by the sword. Over here we're saying die by the sword or be reborn. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's no real correlation there. But a distant memory of hope. That if it doesn't kill you.
Die by the sword or be reborn, our sacred tree stripped of its bark, rots to the core, rooted in bile.
Okay, so are they basically saying, look, you got to get to the tree of life. You're either going to die by the sword because they're guarding it with the sword. So you're going to try to go in there.
It looks like they're on some planet or something, and the planet is dying. And they only have one shot to go to this other planet, maybe. But if they stay on their planet, they're going to die because apparently there's just nonstop war there, which I'm assuming happens when resources start to get depleted.
Yeah.
So this is a concept record. I'm assuming what's happening is, like, in that universe, something is going on with the planet. They got to get out of there. But there's all these things that are fraught with danger along the way. That's what it looks like to me. Enter the gates, obtain the light, free the enslaved, end of the night.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like setting the agenda for the entire record as far as, like, what
they're going to be doing.
What they're going to be doing.
Yeah, what the adventure is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
that
right,
so I got confirmation
yeah.
from Benji that it's part of the concept.
Okay, so let's check out song number 2. What do you think? Skip the commercial, just go right into song number 2?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But
okay,
I'm
but
still,
we gotta rate this one too.
Well, I'm not.
Oh,
done.
wait,
I'm not done with this one.
Oh, okay.
I'm not done with this.
Well,
one.
if you are gonna say more, what do you think the bile root? Like their tree, their sacred tree is. Why bile? I mean, is it just to be, disintegrating grossness, or do you think
it
there's
says
some
rots to the
correlation?
core, rooted in bile. So their sacred tree, the thing that was like mega sacred and holy to them, when he peeked under the hood, it was rooted in bile, not rooted in good earth.
Okay.
Right? It should be rooted in good earth
I
and
thought
in
he
rain.
was saying that our sacred tree is dying because it's rooted in bile, but you're saying whatever the
No, that works too. Our sacred tree, stripped of its bark, rots to the core, rooted in bile. So it provides explanatory power for why the tree is rotten itself.
And why they have to leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, but we don't know why it was rooted in bile. Like, why would you let such a thing happen? Like, how could this have happened?
Well, if it's rooted in bile, that means it started out that way.
So friggin' nasty, bro.
Right? If it's rooted in bile, it started out that way. So it's also interesting because in Avatar, there was a sacred tree. That's a very fascinating idea. There's a lot of cultures that have sacred trees, which is very interesting, considering, the Bible really ultimately is a story of 3 trees, right?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you could tell the entire story of the Bible with 3 trees.
Do it.
Yeah. Well, you had the tree of life, which a man may eat and never die. And then you have the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which unauthorized access to was going to bring everybody into death. And so because we sinned at that tree, Jesus then gets put on a tree for the sin of the knowledge of good and evil. And in so doing, the cross simultaneously becomes the tree of life. So because Jesus absorbed the sin from the first tree, we now once again have access to the second tree, the tree of life.
Yeah.
And so the cross, that's why Peter says, he who bore our sins in his body on the tree. So the cross now becomes the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life simultaneously.
Yeah.
Because God is saying, okay, do you want to see, you guys really believe that you want to know good and evil? Well, look at that tree. Because you have the best person in the world, and the worst thing is happening to him. So you see the complete extremes of the knowledge of good and evil on that tree.
Yeah.
But as that's happening, he's also becoming the tree of life.
Yeah.
And so that's why when you get to the end of the book of Revelation, it says that leaves of the tree was for the healing of the nations.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, like there's an entire strategic, you know, God met with Abraham where? Among the oaks of Mamre.
Yeah.
He met him among the trees.
Yeah.
So, which is basically the Bible saying is that even though we got exiled from the garden, God was still meeting up with people. And he met him up by the tree because it gives God nostalgia for how it was back in the garden. It's because Abraham, there's no nostalgia for him. Because he didn't grow up in the environment with all the trees and shit.
Oh, you're
it's for
right.
God.
Yeah.
So when God decides to visit him, he visits him. Oh, he's by the tree. Let's go there, because that's that's how I used to walk and talk with him before everything went haywire.
Yeah.
So, so like, there's definitely like I don't think that this is based like explicitly on the Bible, but you do have things like a sacred space, a sacred temple, a tree. The idea that we were once in a utopia, now we're in a dystopia. Human sacrifice is necessary. There are gates. There are serpents.
Yep.
So I don't think I'm guessing this is more of a sci-fi than theology.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of theological allusions, which I think is impossible for a person who's grown up in the Western world not to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we've done a very good job of culture washing Western culture with Christian mores. It's just a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
How are you two doing? Oh, yes, the book that tells all. Well, no, the Bible doesn't tell us all. It just tells us all we need for a life of godliness. And how to make the world a better place and how to relate to our Creator. I'm glad that you're here, though. Okay, what did you give this song?
Some of the parts I would give like a 9.6. Some of the parts I'd give like an 8.9 to. I'm going to go with a solid 9.
This is a 7.5.
Ooh, 7.5.
The music was okay. I like the lyrics more than anything. The song was kind of like didn't really go many places for me. The vocalist I thought was really interesting. I think somebody said it was like stoner / death / prog, and I thought that was a pretty good apt. But like even with the prog stuff, for the reasons that I hate prog, but it didn't really come out. Prog. You know, like Dream Theater goes on these 8-minute runs or whatever. Look, I went to Juilliard. Like it was just kind of like it was kind of meh-ish for me. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Ben gave it a 9.5. So you agreed.
And I gave it a 9.
He agreed with you and your nonsense. God gave life to all things on this planet.
All right, you guys. Up next.
I've got a 9.2.
92%?
I got a 9.2 from the big homie.
Okay, so we're doing song 2 on the same album.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna jump right into song 2. So on the same record.
I'll
and
take
does it follow?
Timestamp. Yeah, it's the next song on the album.
Can you go to the
remember?
thingamajiggy?
What?
Just go to the
This?
No, the.
You want proof? What do you want?
Oh yeah, Despoiled. Okay, so the next song is Despoiled. We could timestamp that at 33:30. So the next song is Despoiled. Okay, it's on the same record. So we're gonna pull it up and play it again.
Yep. That's gonna start at 8:12. It's Beyond the Reach of the Sun official album stream.
Okay, hold on a second.
Okay.
No,
Ancients.
that's the wrong one.
Despoiled. Beyond the Reach of the Sun. Oh.
Okay, and then you said that it was in what minute?
Minute 8:12.
8:12. Okay, hold on.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you should get that and then give me the timestamp again.
Yep. Agree.
All right. What song is next? No Slayer next. Up next.
No Slayer is Despoiled. Is next.
The band is called Ancients. Dwayne said he's gonna block you for giving such a horrible score.
What? 7.5. It's way better than average. All right. So we've got Ancients Despoiled. Do we have a?
Nope. Nothing to read.
Nothing to read.
Nope.
All right, guys. Here you go. Ancient Despoiled. It's a continuation of the song and the lyrics that we just read.
Okay, let's check it out.
Let's check it out.
8:12.
To what? I like this one a lot already. Death to the wise. Same band? I see what you did there. Ooh. was the same band?
Same band, second song on the album.
Why did they start off with the... That don't make no sense. This song was incredible. Why didn't they start off the record with this song? That other one was like... I'm so happy I stayed by my guns and stayed with my 7.5 for the previous song.
Yeah.
Because, like... Okay, I was like, okay, these guys can get busy. I'm not going to give them no... You ain't getting no freebie. You're not getting no freebies from me, Benji.
None. Okay,
so... This song is almost like a completely different band for me.
Okay,
so,
what hit you the most? Like
the musicianship.
What about it? Well, like,
there was an actual flow. There was an actual flow to the heaviness where I could catch off and go on with the ride. The previous song, like, it just never got... I was always expecting
for
some sort of climax point, and it just... Takeoff is... Like, it just never got there in the first song. But I understood that the really what got it to 7.5 was the lyricism. Because of all the allusions that they... I thought they said a lot with a few words. And anytime somebody can do that, I'm always going to be, you know... But, yeah, this was a lot better than the second song, I think. Go ahead.
Okay, so lyrically,
Benji, look, he's laughing at me. How dare you? How dare you laugh at me? It's my freaking show. He's laughing at me on my own show.
I want to see what's going on with the story. For centuries, they walked a fertile ground, flourishing in light. Then kings arrived with hatred in their hearts. Utopian demise. Malignant fate in the hands of the evil ones. Death to the wise. Scar the earth for eternity. Paradise lost.
There it is again.
Yep.
Death to the wise.
Yeah.
So you lost paradise because of the wise.
Yep.
And, you know, Eve ate the fruit because she wanted
wisdom.
Keep going.
As mountains burn beneath an angry sky, sanity unwinds. They've poisoned all the oceans and the seas and leave no trace of life. Malignant fate in the hands of the evil ones. Death to the wise. Scar the earth for eternity. Okay, so the same thing. Escape through a cavern of shadows. The chasm between leads deeper into the ground, lit by the flame of a candle. An echo of torment, the only sound. Ugh. We will prevail or die in the looming trails. Grip of despair. Ancient. Ascent of the fallen ones. Ancient tyrant. Seek your demise. No mercy given. Hear the cries, searing the flesh of the beast, buried alive.
Ancient ascent of the fallen ones?
He won't survive. Yeah, and they're going to... Searing the flesh of the beast. So they're burying him alive, alone with his madness, he won't survive.
Okay, so the fallen ones is one of the nicknames for the Nephilim.
Yeah.
Or in the secular use, the Anunnaki.
Yeah.
There's this guy named Zachariah Sitchin.
Yep.
And he has a sort of a view about the Anunnaki that's pretty close to the biblical understanding of the Nephilim. Right? So it's like, I think Anunnaki means those who from up came down, I think is what the term means.
Who first started using that, or where do we have that first record?
It's Zachariah Sitchin.
Yep.
But if you look at early Mesopotamian works, they talk about the Anunnaki, these beings who came from the sky and came down and interfaced with them. Every major ancient religion has a story like that. Every single one of them. And obviously, you know, when you
and
watch...
what do all of those interactions consist of? Like, what's the
pretty much the same thing. Technology, wisdom. You know, like, for example, the dude that, like, gave us fire. I forgot the guy's name. But it wasn't Sisyphus. Sisyphus was walking up the mountain. But there is one guy that figured out fire, but the gods didn't want us to have fire. But he's like, I mean, come on, they're going to need fire. So he goes down there and gives us fire, and then the gods punish him for eternity because he did that. So there's this idea. There's this idea that there is like this forbidden thing.
Yeah.
And the one who gave you the forbidden thing is the hero, and the one that kept the forbidden thing away from you is the villain, right? Mm-hmm. And so from that perspective, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So like that is really interesting. So if you look at the intro to the song, for centuries they walked the fertile ground, flourishing in light. And then kings arrived with hatred in their hearts and to destroy their utopia.
Utopian demise, yeah.
Right? So it's like, that's a typical story, right? Like, you know, it's really interesting because, like, when you talk about race relations and things like that, people make it sound like that's what happened in North America. Said everybody was just living together in peace and harmony on the soil and just living off the land. And if they killed a buffalo, he'd have a conversation with the buffalo and apologize for killing him. It's like, yeah, that was true. And they were also like murdering each other, raping each other, drinking each other's blood, cutting each other's heads off, all types of crazy shit. And so it becomes this thing where, like, if you get conquered, you were just a perfect, beautiful human being, and it's these nasty Europeans that came over and conquered you. When in reality, I think the best depiction of it is obviously Apocalypto from Mel Gibson, where you saw it was basically life in the Aztec America, and you saw how these guys just came in, ruthlessly took over a village, assaulted the women in like right in front of their husbands, and then the husbands got taken captive, and then they got their heads chopped off in Tenochtitlan or whatever it was.
That's crazy.
And they were just making a sport about murdering these people. And so it's like, that's it. But you see this sort of like this trope everywhere you go. It's like the wonderful islanders who are perfectly innocent, and here comes, and you know, it's white people. Here comes the white people to just destroy all the utopia and turn everything into a dystopian hellscape. When in reality, like, that's not what happened. It doesn't justify it either. I'm not saying it justifies it, but the idea that if you get conquered, all of a sudden now you're the second thing closest to Christ is ridiculous. Like, you just lost. And if they would have had the tech and the know-how to do what they did, vice versa, they would have jumped on boats and headed to Spain and done that shit.
Right.
I.e. the Vikings. So like, it's it's very, I understand it's a tough pill for everybody to swallow, but I like looking at the opening lines here, I'm like, oh, okay, so the problem is all we got to do is get rid of the these kings that are showing up, because the kings are the problem. Prior to them, we were living in peace and harmony. Really? I don't know about that.
Yeah, everybody always wants to outsource the blame to somebody else or something else, instead of realizing we all are part of the problem. Every single one of us. There's no perfect person. There's no perfect relationship. There's no perfect anything. Like, we all suffer with this disease called sin. we're all doing the things that we're not supposed to be doing. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, if you misdiagnose a disease, you can end up killing your patient, man.
Exactly, yeah.
So like, if you look at all the social commentary right now, if you're on the left, you've got about 2 or 3 groups of people that are causing all the problems. It's the millionaires and the billionaires and all these Trump supporters. Those are the problem. And then you talk to a Trump supporter, you say, what's the problem with America? And they'll tell, oh, it's these liberals and the Alabama joints. Like, you know, like nobody's like really looking into like, okay, where am I ignorant on these stuff? And it's one of the things that'll really get you if you do a channel like this. It doesn't matter what your original thought process was. If you end up doing a channel like this and you take the people that you interact with seriously, it causes some real
questions and
like if you
thinking.
For sure. You have to. Malignant fate in the hands of the evil ones, death to the wise, scar the earth for eternity, paradise lost. It's interesting because I think there's a difference between wisdom and intelligence, and I think there's a difference between problem solving and technology. So if you go here, it says malignant fate in the hands of the evil ones, death to the wise, scar the earth for eternity, paradise lost. I just think that we as a human species have become very intelligent, and that results in things like our ability to split the atom, right? So intelligence says, hey, I figured out with enough plutonium and enough X and enough Y, we can split the atom. But a wise person says, yes, we can, but should we? Right? Should we? That's the question. And it doesn't seem like we're asking that question. Because people, like, you always do this thought experiment. Like, if you were against the atom bomb being dropped, you could go back in time and make it so the atom bomb is not dropped. Would you do it? A lot of people say, well, yeah, I would stop it if I could stop it. And then I asked him the next question. Okay, so if that means that the Japanese won World War II, or the Japanese and the Germans won World War II, would you still not drop it? No, I would have dropped it. It's like, okay, so then there are things that you value, you know, over human life.
Yeah.
But one of the things I think people have to understand, because people ask this question, why didn't God want them smart? Why didn't he, you know, why does God want stupid kids? Why would he do that? And a lot of theology gets explained once you become a parent. Because you don't want your kid. Yeah, I saw one of the kids was reaching for the butter knife. And I said, no, you can't have that. Now, if he were to say, well, I see you with a butter knife all the time, so how come I don't do it? It's like, I'm not going to explain it to you right now. Because you don't have the capacity to understand. You see what I'm saying? It's like, if you give a 3-year-old everything that he's curious about, that 3-year-old will die in about 7 days. So the way that I looked at, you know, the whole Adam and Eve situation, why does God want us stupid? God didn't want us stupid. But he just wanted us to be wise. And there's a difference between solving a problem and being wise. There's a lot of ways to solve a problem. Like somebody's talking shit about you, there are a lot of ways to solve that problem. Right? But the wisdom is, the wise person is the person that says, I am doing this for this reason, and this is the result that I want. And if you can react and you can live in such a way as to operate that way, you're going to be good.
To serve your end purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wisdom for wisdom's sake is not good. And I think that's one of the lessons in the Garden of Eden. Wisdom just for wisdom's sake, or knowledge just for knowledge's sake, is not good. Because there's a teleology to everything, meaning a purpose to everything. So if you don't attach purpose on your thought processes and what you're trying to do in the world, then it's going to go all haywire and everything is going to be about your opinion. And that's exactly what we have right now in our country. People really truly believe their opinions or their beliefs or their identification changes actual reality. And like, that's where we are. And so it's like, we're in desperate need of wisdom.
Yeah.
This is the most technologically informed generation of human beings ever. And yet here we are doing insane stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like a story that gets told over and over and over again. And the people on this planet, which it kind of sucks that we're leaving these people because we got other songs to do. But the people on this planet, like, now have to figure out, okay, these guys showed up. They're turning things into a hellscape. Obviously, Earth is horrible now, according to this song. And so that explains why they had to leave the planet in the previous song and try to get rebirthed again, because these people just came in and screwed everything up. It's a crazy way to look at history, man.
Yeah.
It really, really is. So it's whew.
Yeah, I mean, wisdom and knowledge, the purpose of all of those things, you know, as a Christian, we look at it as, okay, you have the mind of God, and then the mind of God is somehow put out on a platform that we can understand, which is the world. And so as we're exploring and we're understanding the world, the reason that we can logically figure stuff out, or we can figure out the process of photosynthesis or stuff, you know, any of those things, is because we have an understanding that the mind of God is logical. And so if a logical mind created the world, then we're going to be able to see logic it down into the atoms and the smallest bits of everything that's around us, which is what you see when you look around. But I think, like you were saying, like, knowledge for knowledge's sake is dangerous. And I think that is part of the reason, is because it is meant to bring us to something. It's meant to bring us to the ultimate mind. It's meant to bring us to God himself. And when it leads us away from him and we get focused just on the stuff, we miss everything. It's just the same thing as like a family that focuses on their physical items that they collect inside of their home and cares less about the people inside of their home. I mean, yeah, it's just interesting. Just priorities in the way that people look at things. Like, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So you really liked this one.
Yeah,
this
this
one
was more of a
definitely
conventional.
right up there
this
for you,
this
huh?
was for the headbangers, of which I am the chief.
This is 8.7 for me on this one.
9.2 on this one.
Look at that.
Look at that, dear listener.
All right, more to
Don't
come.
go anywhere. The night has just begun.
Yes, don't touch that dial.
Don't touch that dial. We will see you on the other side of the break. Bitches, Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. We'll be right back.
Bye.
I'm Vin.
You saw
If
that?
you would like
You
to
mocking
get
my
your
laugh?
song reviewed, dear listener,
You should have told that boy to get some
capitalist
propane.
option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes.
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that
can
off.
also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee,
Can't
a positive
guarantee you
review.
a positive review.
Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy our merch, indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. We are in the midst of the big homie, DJ Ben. Yeah, I got a message late last night. She said, "Guess who wants a show?" I was like, middle. She said, "No, you idiots.
I never said that word.
It's your favorite person." I said, "Ben? Ben's doing a stream? Has he ever done one before?"
Oh my gosh. Wilderun. Suncatcher.
I think it's Wilderun.
Okay, Wilderun.
What's wrong with you?
Wilderun.
What's wrong with you?
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Video timestamp, babe. Give me the timestamp. 57.
I would do 58.
58. Okay. You said Wilderun's? Wilderun's debut album, Olden Tales and Deathly Trails, definitely had a more folky style and mixed sea shanties folk with death metal. Kinda.
Sea shanties folk?
Yeah, sea shanties. Kind of like if Ailstorm was a more serious band. 4 of the 7 tracks on this album were actually derived from or contain actual folk songs. Sea shanties dating back to the 1970s. But this will be its own stream coming later. The next 2 songs are their own composition from that album. Let's check it out. So we're going to go from 216 to 955, which I'm going to send you in a text right now so you can refer to it
216.
mid-song.
I would rather refer to the lyrics.
Yeah, I think
You
that's
loser.
well, I mean...
Okay, so, wait. What did you say? We're on Wilderun, Olden Tales, and Deathly Trials?
It's called
the album.
Suncatcher. Suncatcher is the name of the song.
Right, okay. So, I'm on the...
Wilderun.
Yeah. What was the timestamp again?
I sent it to you, and
Just
I'm
tell
getting
me
you the
again.
lyrics right now.
Tell me
I'm not on the screen anymore. I'm getting you the lyrics.
What's the timestamp, Benji?
It's 2 something.
2:15. All right, here we go. Back in business. 2:15. Be quiet. No, Vanilla. Good God. All right, there we go. All right, so you ready?
Yeah, do it.
All right, guys, here we go. You send me the lyrics?
Yep. What is this?
Was not expecting this. Sounds like a carnival almost. Does it sound like
It's
a
the
carnival?
folk side of it, right?
A folky carnival? What did he say? Like seashore metal or
It's
something?
folk. Shanties.
Shanty? Sea shanty?
Sea shanties.
Didn't he say that? Shanty?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that.
It sounds like a circus, you're right.
Piratey?
Yeah.
Night is nearing its closure. The earth is yearning for the light, but the skies have frozen over. The sun of my heart cannot pierce the dark to catch the whispers of the heavens. The black mountain pass must be sought when the beast of seclusion awaits. We won't endure the cold in the Nothing I've learned holds its meaning when the soul is cast out of its home, and the scars of my strength never deepening. The stars turn their heads from the tears I have shed. The key had always been my treasure when the lock was the much greater prize.
Wow.
The force looked straight through the lies. Wiped out desire.
Now it sounds like medieval. Fair Maiden. Me and the Knight's about to go off to war in this bitch. See?
They always give him a tissue.
Ooh!
You are. They always gave them the thing to take when they go to fight. You know?
A little kerchief to remember me by. Little kerchief.
I close my eyes and feel such hate. Will the darkness I hold become my fate? The sun is so far away from my grasp. Will its flame still remain when illusions of light fade so fast?
Ooh.
Will the dawn show its face?
up! Oh, okay. That's all she wrote for that one.
Alrighty.
I don't know, Ben. I think I'm gonna have to sue you for false advertising, my G. That didn't sound progressive to me. That sounded more like power metal.
I actually agree. I thought it definitely sounded more power metal.
Which is not disappointing.
No.
Because
no,
it wasn't corny power metal.
Yeah.
But it definitely definitely progressive death metal. I don't know about that, Benji. Ben seems to like concept records because this looks like this is a completely different band, right?
But still seemed like another concept.
Yeah, it seems like he's Ben looks like a big idea guy.
A dreamer. He has
big ideas.
Yeah.
And I don't mean big idea like, oh, I got this big idea. I'm just thinking about big things.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than my mom used to have this sign that was small people talk about other people, medium people talk about stuff, and then great people talk about ideas. So Ben's one of those great people is what you're saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Why waste time gossiping and talking and tearing down other people when you can think about ideas or different interesting stuff? So carry on.
Night is nearing its closure. The earth is yearning for the light, but the skies have frozen over. The sun of my heart cannot pierce the dark. Oh, the sun of my heart cannot pierce the dark. That's a good line.
Is a good line.
Reminds me of Malachi. It says, "A sun of righteousness will rise with healing in its wings." Obviously, that sunrise would have to be in the heart. So, that's an interesting line. To catch the whisper of the heavens, the black mountain pass must be sought, where the beast of seclusion awaits.
Yeah, it sounds like these mythical sort of stories.
The dawn. The bitter despair of their starving eyes has paved the road that I fear. In the greenest grove, their savior will appear.
Okay, Ben, when you're listening to an album, let's say it's your first time listen.
Oh, that's a good question.
And you're going straight through. Are you just experiencing the music, or are you focusing on the story that's in the lyrics? Can you hear the story in the lyrics, or do you have to read it so that way you can follow it along?
Question.
I want to know, what do people do when they're experiencing album reviews? Because obviously the only album reviews that I've done have been here on the channel. So, I've never sat down with a whole album and just, listened, I don't think, to a whole album. So, I think if I did, it wouldn't necessarily be about the lyrics. It would be about what it sounds like. So, I'd love to know what you do. What do you do?
What do you mean?
If you're going to listen to a whole album, not on the channel, do you have to listen? Do you have to know the lyrics to first listen through?
To be honest with you, I haven't really done that since we started the channel.
No
really
kidding.
Haven't. Yeah, I don't listen to.
Okay, well, what were you before? What did you do? Did you have to know the lyrics before you could really, or did you listen to it just by the sound and then go back and be like,
well,
what are they saying?
It doesn't take long for me to memorize lyrics.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
So when you're hearing a song, it's very easy for you to hear what they're saying too.
Yeah,
yeah,
and plus, the receiving end of Sirens, I don't just listen to Cookie Monster metal. You know what I'm saying? I listen to other metal too. Yeah. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying. As far as how and sometimes it just depends on, that record that we used to listen to. We got that from the dude from Emperor, and I had that in my car for a year. I listened to that album all the way through, but we would go through months where I was focused on one song because it was you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I listen to the music. But
okay, Middle says, I just listen, lyrics don't matter, I just listen straight through.
And then Neil says, I read the lyrics before I even put the music or before my first listen.
Neil, that was one of the ideas that I threw around. I'm like, I'd love to do a stream where we break down the lyric and then we listen to the song. Because now you know exactly what we're singing about, and so now you're like, okay, can they musically express what we just broke down lyrically?
Yeah.
I think it would be a great way to do a stream. But
it'd be a reverse stream.
Yeah, it's
we'll have to call it like the Upside Down or something like that.
Remember Opposite Day when we were kids?
Yes.
We call it Opposite Day.
Whoa, you guys did Opposite Day?
Who didn't?
I thought that we made that up.
No, man, everybody.
You lied to me, nigga. I thought you said we made it up. Get out of here, bro.
They probably told you they made up the silent game too.
Taffer in this bitch. Okay. What do you think the song is about?
So what did we get from Ben? What does Ben do? Ben was I'm doing the Sori method. I'm feeling the music first, and then I check lyrics. Sometimes I don't check lyrics for a year.
You know, it's funny. Like, my first metal band was Korn, and they never published lyrics.
Yeah, that's what you said, yeah.
So you just basically had to make them up. So,
but, I mean, it's just so interesting to think how different we are, even, like, from you, where you're like, you pretty much know what the lyrics are saying when you first hear it. I'm like, I'm going to make it up and feel it and experience it as it's going, and then I'm going to look into the lyrics, but I'm not going to wait a year to do it. I'm looking into the lyrics relatively quickly. Ben is like, I'm going to experience the music, vibe with it, and I might not be curious about the song until a year goes by. That's crazy. That's so interesting, the difference between the three of us. Anyway, all right, so let's go into it.
Opposite Day was from You Can't Do That on Television. Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Oh, really?
Show. You don't know about that show, do you?
It came from
you
a show?
Can't Do That on television?
No. That sounds like something we wouldn't be able to watch.
Yeah, all the slime would come on people, all type of crazy
Oh,
shit.
I loved the slime.
All right, tell me what you think the song is about.
Well, I know. I didn't listen to the lyrics, so now I'm looking at them.
Night is nearing its closure. The earth is yearning for the light. The skies have frozen over. The sun of my heart cannot pierce the dark.
To catch the whisper of the heavens, the black mountains must pass must be sought, where the beast of seclusion awaits. We won't endure the cold, and neither will the dawn. So yeah, definitely you can. It's another story, you know.
Yeah, but this one, this is like the worst dystopia for me is the cold stuff. I can't stand that. Like, put me in Dune with all the sand and shit. Like. You know, the heat and the monsters and shit, like, I'm good. But, like, a frozen dystopia, no.
Yeah.
It's just too much. Kill me! Seriously, like, ugh. And we just escaped.
Drop me off in Florida.
We just escaped from all that.
Yeah.
We were taking our walk last night at, like, 3-something. And there was also a light drizzle.
Yep.
And,
59 degrees or something.
It was
like
57 degrees. At 3 o'clock in the morning. We checked where we used to live, and it was like 27, 21, something like that.
Vin's like, I'm taking you home. I don't want anyone getting sick. It's 57 degrees out there. All right. But no, notice I'm sniffling and everything, so.
Well, I had my hijab on, so I was like, there's no way that she's gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, you are not gonna take care of it. All the water's going through your head. I was like, all right, we turn around. We're going home.
Aw, you're cute.
The bitter despair of their starving eyes has paved the road that I fear. In the greenest grove, their savior will never appear.
That is crazy. The bitter despair of their starving eyes has paved the road that I fear. So exactly what he was not wanting to happen was happening, and what was paving that road was their despair. Like, in their face, their starving eyes.
They've got to get
so
to.
crazy.
But, hey,
and
Big
their savior's
Steve.
never coming. Hey, hi.
Narrator in chief.
Yeah.
Where's that recording? It's been 2 years.
I mean, how much longer must we wait?
Woe to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bitter despair of their starving eyes is a really good line because I think they have starving eyes because they're legitimately starving.
Yeah,
because
both.
the world looks completely dystopian, and when you're in a dystopic situation like that, one of the first things people do is try to find out who to blame. And once you find out who to blame, you can pretty much fill in the blanks after that.
Oh, boy.
So, like, yeah, like, and you know, anytime you see a dystopian movie where, you know, it really just becomes now a battle of resources, whether it's Walking Dead or whatever. Mm-hmm. It always ends up in the same kind of situation where it's like you get challenged with man's inhumanity to man, mm-hmm. but you also get challenged with your own deep-seated desire to survive and for your people to survive over and against other people surviving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when it talks about like hungry eyes, there's a lot of connotations to that in my mind. Like it could mean like literal hunger. It could mean hunger for vengeance.
It could be hunger to see the savior that was never going to appear.
Right. Yeah. And then like in the greenest grove, which is also very interesting because it,
right.
The prior to that, it says you have to go to the Black Pass or something like that?
Yeah,
Where
the Black Mountain Pass must be sought where the
right.
Beast of Seclusion awaits.
So the Black Mountain Pass must be sought, and then on the other side you've got the Greenest Grove, but the Green Grove really isn't doing anything like positive in the song yet. He paved the road that I fear. It has in the Greenest Grove their savior will never appear. Nothing I've learned holds its meaning. Nothing I've learned holds its meaning.
When the soul is cast out of its home.
And the scars of my strength never deepening. Is it ever deepening or never
Mine
deepening?
Mine says never.
The scars of my strength never deepening. The stars turn their heads from the tears that I have shed. Damn, not even the stars want to see him.
Yeah.
That's really crazy.
Yeah.
Like, if even the stars are like, yeah, this moment's too heavy.
Yeah.
We have a 3-day polar vortex hitting us on Monday. God. Shout out to all the people in the Northeast.
Yikes. It's crazy because when he's saying when the soul is cast out of its home, because what you think of home as a physical place, and so you think, oh, the body is cast out of the home, but he's saying the soul is cast out of the home. And so it's this sort of like when they've been sent away from where they live, like they've been sent away from where their soul thrives, where their soul has the most comfort, has the most, you know what I'm saying? Like it.
I listened to this podcast like 10, 15 years ago, and the title of the podcast was A Sense of Place. I said, that's interesting. And they were talking about what it is to, this is my place, this is where I belong, this is my home, this is my father's house, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And they were talking about like the familiarity, and if you look at the term familiar, it has the word family in it, right? And so it's like this sort of like relationship to this place as if it's a member of the family.
Yes.
Right? So like I am familiar with this.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting because it's like, how does this inanimate object like a house or a plot of land that really is indiscriminate from any other plot of land, how does all that get poured into an area, a place? And of course, some of that is, well, we believe that we're the only conscious beings in the house. But there's a lot of questions now about, okay, since consciousness didn't arrive through some scientific process, then some scientists say, okay, we'll just say consciousness was fundamental. Like consciousness was the beginning of everything, and then from consciousness came everything else. Because it's kind of too hard to figure it out the other way. But I don't know if the land itself doesn't have some sort of collective memory or preference for some people over others. Like, it's really interesting. Like, we're watching a show and it's winding down, but the main character in the show is not human. The main character in the show is actually an island. And they talk about how the island wanted this, it was the will of island that. So the island becomes like its own character in the show.
Yeah.
And that character dominates the show. But you never have a conversation with, quote, the island. But and so I thought that was really, really interesting.
I was reading this book, Care for the Soul, and he was talking about the concept sort of like what you're describing, but he was talking about like a plow, like an old-fashioned plow that serves no purpose now, because we don't use it anymore. I mean, we use machines that work better than the old-fashioned ones. But how we take those old-fashioned ones and we place them decoratively around, and we get this feeling of nostalgia when we look at it, like it draws soul out of us. The poetic way that machine looks when it can no longer serve its purpose, but when it served its purpose, we couldn't see its soul because we were using it. But it's just interesting when you think about, like you're talking about the land or the building or what makes those things so important to us. I wonder if it's more that the soul is expressed through the people and the things around us. So the Bible says, out of the mouth the heart speaks. So we know what's going on internally by what people are saying through their mouth. And so I wonder if what you put into the land, like you put part of yourself into the land when you dedicate your excellence to it, and you watch the fruit of your own hands grow in front of you, and you pick from that and you cook for your family or you whatever.
Well, that was some of the problem in the Old Testament, was because they were supposed to give the land a Sabbath every 7 years.
Yeah.
And then it says, God basically says, I'm going to send you guys into exile. And then he says, then the land will have its rest.
Yeah.
Or then the land will enjoy its Sabbath, it says.
Yeah.
So God speaks about the land as if it's a stakeholder that has rights.
Yeah.
Right?
It's interesting.
And so it's like, could that all be poetic? Sure. But now I'm like, how much of my relegation of this stuff to being just poetic license, how much of that is influenced by physicalism and the way that I was taught?
Yeah.
Like, oh, of course we know trees don't have emotions. How could you know that?
Yeah.
How could you know?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, oh, we're the only sentient. Like, how? How would you know? And like, I was watching Michael Levin, and he was talking about these amoeba. And they're obviously conscious, but they don't have any neuronal activity. But these things are conscious. They make decisions. They go left instead of right. They know when to stop making a heart. Like, for the most part, like a heart's going to be this many pounds, this size. How do those things assemble and know to do that?
Yeah. Here's just some.
And Michael Levin has basically argued that all of these things contain some sort of conscious agents who are actively working to get us what we need. So like, and it's so crazy because we talk about this when we're kids. When you see the. I don't know if you guys all saw the video where the white blood cells, they're all in helmets and shit, and they go to attack.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're talking about these things as if they're conscious. You know what I'm saying? But that's to explain to a child. To an adult, we're like, yeah, it does that. But like, how? And we think, unfortunately, a lot of these secularists have made the error that says that the brain is responsible for consciousness, which is the biggest sort of logical error that I've seen be committed. That's a correlation is causation fallacy. So because the brain is associated with consciousness, they go the next stage and say the brain is a cause of consciousness, which is
do that.
You can't. Yeah. Like, and if that was the case, then we would not have the hard problem of consciousness.
Exactly.
As far as like why we experience qualia the way that we do. This is what a blade of grass looks like under a microscope. Next time you take a walk outside, know that the grass is happy to see you.
It's just stuff like that. Like, I mean, look at it. Look at it up close.
Smiley faces.
Yeah, there was another one too, which was basically like the happy hormones and what they look like when they're carrying the stuff. Like, they looked like happy little guys moving along. I don't know. I'll find it at some point and I'll post it for you guys. But it was super cute.
I do agree that that's some human arrogance. I don't think it's wrong to say that we're the pinnacle of God's creation, but He's God, so He's really talented. So we can't say that the animals and the environment. That's another thing I learned from the channel.
Yeah, go for it.
To have a genuine like concern for the environment. Like, prior to that, it was like, well, but it's like, oh, wait a second, no, like. We're supposed to, I think that the indigenous people had a point there. Like, I don't agree with everything, but I think they had a point there. They talk about like the tree being your brother and all this shit. Like, that's a much better world to live in, I think. Because then like you're gonna pause and be like, am I really going to cut down this tree to build a mall?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's a real question. Like,
Yeah.
if you believe that they're sentient, if you believe that they know what they are at some level and they know what you're going to do, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that that's sort of the, you know, how many trees you cut down, you take those acorns and you go plant them, or pine cones or whatever, and you go plant them elsewhere so that way they can kind of go on over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you can still push forward, you know,
What do you
the
give this
human
one?
agenda, but at the same time, you know, take care of the environment. I like this one. I would give this one, I'm going to go with a solid, 9 on this one.
Vin, what do you think of the idea that hyper-advanced transcendent aliens created the universe? Yeah, I was having a conversation with an atheist friend of mine, and he was saying that to appeal to the design that's obviously evident in the universe is the blind watchmaker argument. And I just said, well, you know, Watson and Crick had probably some of the biggest or more consequential discoveries relative to DNA. And I believe it was Crick who looked at the data and said, okay, here's DNA, it's directional and it's informational. How the hell does information evolve from nothing?
Yeah.
And so his conclusion was a panspermia doctrine, which is the idea that super advanced extraterrestrial beings seeded this earth. So my point is...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What is their difference between super intelligent aliens and God? What are they saying is the difference between the two?
The aliens aren't going to hold you accountable to
That's
live
what
a
I
moral
would
life.
say. Yeah, but what would they say? Do they realize that that's why they would choose the aliens over God?
I don't think so.
What do you think that is their understanding
I just think they'd
of
rather
why they're-
anybody. They'd rather anybody. It's just like the Democrats of Bernie. They'd rather anybody than Bernie.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
they
that
know-
seems like a weak position.
they
Not
know
like weak
he's
as in,
going
I'm not trying to
to-
mock somebody, but weak as in like, that doesn't seem like a very solid position to hold, because if you're only holding, it's like, you know, like when people get together with somebody because there's a conflict going on, so the conflict pushes them together,
Yeah,
but
they really
there's
think they're
not
in love.
really, there's not
Yeah.
really something there, and then when the conflict is over, like, it's hard.
Yeah.
Kind of fizzles out. Like the same thing here, like, you see what I'm saying?
No, I agree. I just think that I don't think that people are thinking through the ramifications of their worldview. I just think that if you're a deist, you can say, okay, God created the world. I can understand the design here. But deism is the idea that God kind of spun it up and then went off to go hang out somewhere else. It's just we don't want any being that we report to that can tell us how to live. So I would rather believe in an alien who randomly did that and is coming to check up on us than a God who is demanding all these things from me and demanding me to live in contradiction to my urges. I would much rather an alien. Alien ain't gonna tell you nothing. He ain't gonna tell you what to do. See what I'm saying? Alien's not gonna tell you like I'm gonna judge you and all this. Like people want to be able to, you know.
Yeah, but
live
what
out-
people
live
don't
out their-
realize, it's like the whole analogy of a bus. Like you're on a bus, you're in the middle of the desert, people are dying of thirst. You go off, you find an oasis, and you come back and you're showing people pictures of the oasis and you're saying, this is over there. Like they could sit there and look at the picture all day long, but if they don't go over there and drink from the water, they're not going to survive. But like, shoot, where was I going to go with that? Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I don't know. I went off for...
No, I was just saying that the alien's never going to hold you accountable for your actions. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to tell you to not look at a woman with lust. He's not going to tell you that violence is bad and all the rest of it.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, because the principles of the Bible, ultimately, when you follow them, it gives you the ability to experience the most joy, the most pleasure, the most whatever. So, like, I mean...
Well, go ahead.
You disagree with that?
I mean...
For instance,
you have a lot of unnecessary suffering that you could have avoided as a Christian.
Right.
So I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like for me, I want people to read the fine print. You know what I mean?
Wait, what are you saying that's different than what I'm saying?
I mean, if you obey God, you might lose your friends. and in the interim, it might not feel like such a wonderful thing. See what I mean? So that's my only thing is like sometimes, you know, doing what God wants is going to get you joy in the long run, but it's going to cause you a lot of
That's true. Yeah.
pain and suffering that you did not need to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the marks that you're actually interacting with the supernatural, when you start living in diametrically opposite, not from who you are, but from your desires. A lot of people can't see the difference between themselves and what they desire. So anyway, it was just an interesting way to look at the world. I also like this song. 9.4 for me.
Okay, solid. A solid 9 for me. You guys were going right into Wilderun Vaunting Veins.
Wait, is this
Same band.
it's the same band?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a full album. Maybe
Yep.
even the same one. We're going to 2219.
2219?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna send that to you again so you can see it and reference it.
All right, guys, we're going right into, because it's another Wilderun, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just make sure he didn't
Keep that
have
other
anything to
program
say.
up.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Would you say 2219?
2219, yeah. So, Wilderun, Vaunting Veins.
Wait,
Vaunting.
what did Benji give it?
Ben, what did you give the last one? And I'm going to take that timestamp also.
I'll tell you when. What did you say? It was 22 what now?
We're going to 2219.
Okay. Be quiet. Problem solved. Problem solved.
Yeah,
okay.
same album.
Does he have an intro for it?
Nope.
Okay, so we're just gonna go right. We're gonna jump right on top of it. Did you give us your rating yet, Benji?
Yeah, give us a rating for your last song.
What did you rate your last song, Benji? We're gonna go right into it after that. What did Benji give it? 9.3. Okay, so he was closer to mine. All right, guys. Here's the next song. What's the?
Okay, the name of the song is Vaunting Veins, and it's the same thing. Wilderun is the name of the band.
Okay.
Let's check it
But
out.
this one is Vaunting Veins.
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. Here we go. Let's do it. What an interesting, very interesting. Sleep. This is folky again.
Nightfall draws ever near. In the silence, all you can hear. Wait on this when the rest of focus falls away. Shadows creep in forest.
Everybody get a partner.
Sun has set, no light left to show. Every two verses goes to your own. But cracking glow one. When the sound of war when the boils to a
Legend of Zelda E.
Ooh.
Sounds like a movie soundtrack. Now it doesn't. You're on the right side, right? Okay, good. right. That was run 31. Got it.
All right.
Okay, that was... I'm starting to figure out Benji. He's a really epic, big picture, big story.
Yes, I think that's a good.
guy.
I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
I'm starting to figure you out,
Yeah.
bruh.
It's all becoming clear.
It's all becoming
Ah.
clear.
All right. Vaunting Veins is the name of this song. Man, what? What's up?
Carve the fire into your skin.
Yeah.
Is how the...
Stitch the wounds, revealing the sin.
Yeah. Waiting in the sky is the wisdom of the ages, freedom's ignorant realm. Freedom's ignorant realm. Okay, so that looks like a play on ignorance is bliss, almost.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it says, waiting in the sky is the wisdom of the ages, freedom's ignorant realm.
Yeah.
So what realm? The skies are the ignorant realm? So is he saying people that look up to the sky for wisdom are actually ignorant because there's nobody up there? Is that the idea?
Could be.
Carve the fire into your skin, stitch the rules revealing the skin. Sounds a little bit like, maybe like some kind of witch trial-y, Salem witch trial-y shit. You know what I mean?
Stitch the wounds, revealing the sin. How could you... What? Stitch the wounds, revealing the sin. Do the wounds reveal the sin?
You're trying to hide them. You're trying to hide them. So you want to stitch them up because...
Yeah, but it reveal... Oh, the wounds that reveal the sin you want to stitch up.
You got to stitch them up so that, people don't see. So, it looks like... It looks like a breakdown of how these guys are perceiving maybe religious people?
Could be. Carve the fire into your skin, and then you stitch the wounds made from those carvings?
Well,
or you think those are two different things?
Well, no. I mean, I think, Catholics have the practice of self-flagellation, where they harm themselves.
Yeah.
And you're harming yourself because you did something wrong. So after you harm yourself, you've got to stitch it up and cover it up so that you have the punishment for the sin, but you don't want other people to know. So it looks like that's what's going on. Like you're doing some sort of self-abuse to atone for your sin.
Yeah, clear the thoughts addressing your heart. So the thoughts that address what's going on inside of their heart, they're saying, well, rage and honor tear you apart. So it kind of sounds like look beyond the clouds.
Everybody say what's up to Victor. He is from Brazil. Welcome, Victor.
What's up, Victor?
Well,
rage and honor tear you apart. Like you have maybe rage and honor. I mean, that could be discussions of battle. Like you've got the rage with the honor of your people. It could also be like within yourself. Like you're so angry. And sometimes the way that we act, like when we're angry, it's like we're not even human. Like we're acting like a beast. And so maybe it's some of that. Like, well, rage and honor tear you apart. Like the difference between the honor side and the beast side. See what I'm saying? The rage side.
Steven says, maybe if you're ignorant, you have a sense of freedom. Often it is the ignorant that have absolute certainties. That's also true.
That's a good point, yeah.
Like, it's one of the most... It is true about ignorant people and their absolute certainties. Like, because... Like, one of the things that I hear from ignorant people a lot is that there are no absolutes. Which is in itself an absolute statement.
Absolute. Yeah.
But they're clearly ignorant of the fact that that's an absolute statement.
Right, yeah.
The guy was like, a Sith... a Jedi never deals in absolutes. Or he said something like, only the Sith deal in absolutes. That's a Jedi, phrase or whatever. It's like, that's an absolute statement.
Yep. Look at this part. Waiting in the sky is the wisdom of the ages. People will say, get your head out of the clouds.
Yep.
Then later on it says, while rage and honor tear you apart, look beyond the clouds.
With your troubles left behind you, I can lead you. Charging bloody crimson red, hollow, shameful, leave them dead. So he's like, stop with all this religion stuff. Stop trying to get some answer in the sky. Like, there's a real practical way to solve this problem.
Yeah, look beyond
Let's
the
just
clouds.
kill everybody. Charging bloody crimson red, hollow, shameful, leave them dead. We're not going to do all this praying stuff. Let's just go out and go to work.
Nightfall draws ever near. In the silence, all you can hear is pride's heartless whimper as your purpose falls away, but hold your ground and wait.
Yeah, he said something about his pride running down his arm too, which I'm assuming is a way to talk about his blood.
Shadows creep in forest below. The sun has set, no light left to show. the memory to bridge this purpose to your home, the crackling glow unknown. At the sound of war when the
See
blood...
right here?
Yeah, I'm trying
At
to
the
find
end,
it.
Screams of sorrow, longing for my land, sanguine pride flows down my hand. Sanguine, blood.
Sanguine pride. Ooh, flows
Right?
down my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. There's this story in Islam
Wounds to guide my way eternally.
The story in Islam
Man.
where
What a disaster.
where Muhammad was praying one time and they threw a dead camel on him.
Yeah.
And these things are 700, 600, 800 pounds, 900 pounds. And so it was a dead camel. It had guts. I mean, the intestines were out, all types of crazy shit. And anyway, the whole city was laughing at him. And the only people that were on his sides at the time were slaves, so they couldn't do anything. So his daughter, I think it was Fatima, she rolled up and took all the stuff off and rescued her dad. Mm-hmm. And as all these people are laughing at Muhammad, he wiped his face and told the guy, I'm going to kill you next time I see you. So anyway, Muhammad leaves, blah, 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 right? Muhammad comes back in the Battle of Badr. They're going to go to jihad. They're going to war. It was the first real battle with the Muslims. So the guy that Muhammad said that to sent his slave to go fight on his behalf because he's like... And his wife said, how can you do that? This is a cowardly act. Like, what are you doing? Everybody's good. And he said, listen, that man looked me in the face and told me he's going to kill me. So I can't go. So the leader, Abu Jahil, says, all right, cool. Where's your master at? And the guy's like, oh, no, it was just me. And Abu Jahil said, no, we're not doing that. Everybody's fighting this nigga, bro. So he goes back to this dude and says, hey, you gotta come fight. And dude's like, oh, don't worry about it. I got my slave. He's like, no. It's gotta be all the heads of the tribes got to go fight this dude. Like, we all have to fight. So, dude's looking at Abu Jahil like, I don't really want to go. And Abu Jahil goes, is it because he threatened to kill you? So you scared? You don't want to fight because you scared? So obviously after he said that, he straps up and he goes. And he's like the first one to die in the battle. Like literally the first one.
Death.
Yeah. So, so like at the end, like my point is when he talks about the sanguine pride dripping down his arm.
Yeah.
Like you would be amazed at how many people have died in wars just because of pride. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Like you dudes will be in the worst situation ever, and they will look at you and say, "Yo, tell my family I wasn't no bitch." Like those are literal words. Like that's what's going on in dude's head as he's facing, you know, his mortality. And
wow,
you know, he had good reason to think that way. I mean, he made it, but like, it's like that was the thing in his head. Like, tell my girl I ain't no bitch.
Yeah, it would just be like such a crazy experience to go from one realm where honor and like not being a bitch is like important, especially important to that person, but then crossing from that reality to another one where it's completely flipped. Like,
yeah, I mean that was pretty much my experience when I ended up in Maine. Like,
yeah,
I was just like, I really had a hard time, like especially the first couple of years, like fitting in.
Yeah.
And especially with church culture, like,
yeah,
just everything was kind of like toned down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? From what I was used to.
Yeah.
On every front, but there's a lot of dudes like it's so crazy because people will say whatever. You know, this is one of the things that I've been trained on that I really actually is one of the most practical things I've ever been trained on in my life. But people's own ego is easily the key to pretty much anything and everything that you want. If you find somebody that has a fragile ego, they can be controlled just in different ways. And that's one of the things that Trump found out, and he's made adjustments to, and that's why he's so dangerous. But yeah, man, like if you're a person with a really, really, really big ego and you're the person that would literally die to protect your name, like I used to be that kind of person. Now I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You gonna die because other people are gonna say XYZ? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the man?
Yeah.
But like when you're young, you don't understand that.
Yeah, exactly.
The people are sending, and it's always the same thing. Like if you're in the hood, the OGs ain't doing no shooting. They're not doing no killing. They're giving you the gun because you got a clean jail record. They got 2 Fs over. They got 2 felonies already. They're going away for a long time. It's your first gun case, so they're gonna give you the gun. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You ain't no bitch, is you? You ain't no
Yeah.
hoe. When in reality, the guy giving you the gun is the hoe. He's the one that's scared. He's scared of police.
Right.
So he's giving it to you. But like that's a psychological game people play. And like when I went through that, it also made me say, okay, I've got to divest myself of all ego here. And people don't understand the difference between, self-confidence, assurance, and ego. Right? So like a confident person would say, I've been trained in martial arts, so if I have to get busy, I can get busy. But an egomaniacal person will say, I know 4 martial arts, anybody that wants a problem, come see me, nigga, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, like, that guy, that's the guy. And you just pick that guy, and you just drag him all over the place by his ego. And there's nothing they can do. I mean, I've seen people end up doing the craziest things to destroy their own self-interest and their country's self-interest, but because they were operating within a narrative wherein if you do this, you're going to be like the all-time whatever. I'm telling you, is everything sacred? Like, I was looking at dude in the face, like he truly, like he was totally and completely, his brain was gone. Like the people that were handling him owned him completely because they were playing into that pride. Oh, my pride is dripping down my hands with the sword and all this shit. So it's very interesting. Like when you join certain organizations and they do certain things, you're like, yo, why are they doing this? Like, oh, this is a mind game. It's like, well, it's not a mind game. A lot of it is protecting you from the mind game. And as long as you have this, I'm so concerned about what other people think of me. As long as you have that, you're a completely vulnerable person.
Yep.
And so like they teach you how to divest your attachment to those concepts.
Yep.
So that you can operate. And a lot of people know how to do this in the short term. Like for example, let's say that you were in a hostile country, they don't know you're an American, and then people start shit talking America. Well, if you're in the United States and somebody did that, you'd probably piece them up. But you can't in that situation because you're the only one there and they'll chop your head off on TV.
Right.
So everybody knows how to like, okay, the ego thing is over here, right? But if they catch you and you start bristling about it, they're going to keep talking shit about it and watch you.
Yeah.
And then you get in trouble. So my point is like, this thing with ego and men and bloodshed and all that, there's something really deep-seated, it almost like programmed into our DNA where it's like, dudes will really die for that. And, it's a crazy thing to me. The only reason I didn't think the training was as crazy as everybody else thought it was is because I came from the Bronx and I saw people get shot and killed over fake jewelry.
That's so crazy.
And I'm like, no, this shit is real. This is not a theory. Like, this is real. Like, people will literally die over this shit. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. So... this whole thing where you're worried about what people are going to say about you, like it leaves you vulnerable to people who could really, really fuck you up psychologically. 9.2 for me.
This one was interesting because the parts that I didn't like, those were down to like probably a 7. And then the parts that I did like was up to like a 9.6. So I think I'm going to go with an 8.3 on this one. 8.3 it is. We have another...
That's why narcissists aren't so scary. There's no one more insecure or manipulatable. 100%. 100%. All these people that have pegged Trump as a narcissist, like they don't get it. They haven't seen narcissism. If Trump was a narcissist, if he was a true narcissist, he wouldn't handle any campaign he wouldn't hire any campaign managers, and he definitely wouldn't hire a female campaign manager. Say women, and then take orders from them. Like people don't get it, and that's why he keeps beating them, because he plays to their ego while playing an egomaniac when he's not.
Yeah,
he's brilliant.
Yeah,
like the serpent, but he's brilliant. And what happens with young people is like, oh, if I give props to him being brilliant, then I'm supporting him in some way. So I got to say he's stupid. So Elon's stupid. Everybody's stupid who disagrees with me. It's like that's your ego working against you. Like he's using that against you.
Yep.
And like people don't see it when it's happening.
Nope.
So anyway. I'm gonna give this one a 9.5. There was a lot in here, man. There was a lot in here. I'm gonna give this one a 9.5. What'd you give it?
I'm sticking with my original score.
87 due to unseen awesomeness, says Middle Earth. All right. We got more metal and awesomeness coming up for you, beautiful people.
We'll be
Don't
right
touch
back.
that dial. I think there's a band named Opeth. I think. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of them. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. Not really.
I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed
Wow.
here, listen up. There's
That's
the
really
filthy
TikTok's really
capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes.
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that
can
off.
also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee, a positive
you a
review.
positive review.
Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed, and y'all shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. I just found out
We-
how funny that was. A child will lead you to buy our merch.
Buy our merch. We are currently having another cold flying around over here, so apologies for the tissues and the sniffles. Opeth is the next song on our DJ Ben stream. April how do you say this?
Ethereal.
Ethereal.
I'm ethereal.
DJ Ben says this next album was last featured on this channel in 2020. Oh my gosh, what a year. And was the fourth
2020
reaction.
was like, everyone's like, oh, 2020 sucks. It's horrible. I hate 2020. 2020 was terrible.
Yeah.
We lost Vaughn. We lost Duck. Terrible situation. Rest in peace to the homies.
It was the fourth reaction that Vin and Sori did of this band. We're going back to do 2 more songs from the much-loved My Arms, Your Hearse album by Opeth tonight. Opeth,
What's the name of the song?
No, the album is My Arms, Your Hearse.
God.
Yes, the name of the song
Ah, boy. Here
is
we go.
April Ethereal.
The name of the song is April Ethereal?
Yep, and the name of the band is Opeth. Let's check it
We're
out.
gonna need some help. We're gonna need some help. Come on, Maria, help us out. I gotta listen to this prog metal band named Opeth. My God.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Jazakallah.
No problem.
You're supposed to say wa alaikum. What's wrong with you? All right, guys, here we go. Opeth is the band.
April Ethereal is the name of the song.
April Ethereal is the name of the song. That's a very, very interesting
Title.
Yeah.
You're already getting drawn in.
Considering I was born in April.
Yeah.
So that has a lot of significance for me.
That's your birthstone is a diamond.
I was listening to a dude in church, and he called one of his parishioners an insignificant zero.
Are you kidding me?
And I said, holy shit, this guy is not playing with y'all. God almighty.
That man needs a vacation.
Insignificant zero. Yeah, he did get a vacation. God struck him with cancer after that sermon.
Serious?
Yeah, his next sermon was that he had cancer. It's like, well, yeah. But he's good now. He doesn't have cancer anymore.
Inshallah, he repented.
And he's learned. Yeah, that sermon was like one of the worst sermons ever preached ever. But dude, he just lost it. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
He just had a bad.
Oh my word.
He had a bad day. All right, guys, here we go.
Oh my gosh. Opeth.
And the way he said it too was loco. He's like, "You insignificant zero." I was like, "Oh my god."
As if you didn't show that to me.
Oh my. Well, it was. Well.
You know, you could send me the link.
Well, initially what happened was he talked about his wife. He's like, "Yeah, she's just a girl, and if I didn't have her, God would have brought somebody else, and I'd have been fine."
Wow.
I understand what he was trying to do, because he was trying to like stop with this romanticism stuff, blah blah blah. That's what he was trying to do, but it just came off the wrong way.
Oh my gosh.
That was Matt Chandler. All that was Matt Chandler. Shout out to the homie. All right,
let's go.
Back to your regularly scheduled program.
All right, what time?
Opeth.
203.
204. Timestamp
04. Let's go. Let's do it. Opeth, April
Ethereal. Let's do it.
We've said it so many times. Let's go.
Let's go. Go. You got those lyrics?
Ugh. Wow.
Transpose arpeggiate, baby. Bit of subtleties in that riff. It's not just repetition. Okay.
Very interesting.
That was Opeth
Yeah.
That's a 6-minute song?
Is it? It didn't feel a second longer than 3 minutes.
It's an 8-minute and 55.
Ooh,
It's 8:55
okay.
long.
All right, good for
I
you.
felt every minute of that song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like,
loved
man,
it.
this song is going on forever.
I loved it. And maybe I got too creative with the lyrics. I don't know. It seemed like even the story, so it could be a story, like part of a concept album. It also could be like something that really happened. So at the beginning it says, it was me peering through the looking glass beyond the embrace of Christ. Like the secret face.
What is a looking glass?
A looking glass is, they used to call that a mirror, right? The looking glass.
Oh, okay.
So the person is peering into the mirror and like, it's like some disassociation, it kind of sounds like.
Yeah, because it was me peering through the looking glass beyond the embrace of Christ.
Right.
This is probably another concept record, though.
Right, that's what I said.
So he's probably talking about something very specific.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So he says, it was me peering through the looking glass beyond the embrace of Christ, like the secret face within the tapestry, like a bird of prey over the crest. And she was swathed in sorrow as if born within its mask. That was crazy because it kind of sounds like that when she was born, okay, so something put her in a place that was beyond the embrace of Christ.
When she was born?
Yeah, and I
Why?
got born because it says, and she was swathed. Swathed is wrapped in swaddling clothes. She was swathed in sorrow, as if born within its mask, within the mask of sorrow. So she, like right from the beginning, something bad happened to her that...
I took this to be her funeral. Because he says, she was swathed in sorrow as if born within its mask. Her candlelight snuffed.
Yep.
The icon smiled.
And I took that whatever bad happened to her that swathed her in sorrow and was made the mask of sorrow be around her was when her candlelight snuffed, the icon smiled. So as in, she changed diametrically when that bad thing happened to her. And then the icon smiled, and the icon was also the secret face within the tapestry before it talks about the sorrow. This is just, I told you, I might have gone, whatever, but this is what I was pulling out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then emptiness followed in her wake, which wake could be, like you said, the wake or her funeral. But it could also be like, like they talk about like the wake as in the destruction after something happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so the destruction after her sorrow, which was just emptiness, just like came from her from that point on. I could clasp her in undying love, ghost-like rapture, the final word was mine. So it sounds like he loves her and wants to be able to get to her. But then he said, she faced me in awe. It was a token of ebony color, embodied in faint vapor, wandering through April's fire. I think it was talking about her heart, because she, like, so much has gone, like, things have gone so bad. It was a token of ebony color, like her heart had gone black, embodied in faint vapor, but it was, like, almost not even there, because we talked about it kind of being gone. Wandering through April's fire, like, that could be, like, another description of her heart. And then it says, compelled to grasp and to hold the one that was you. Compelled to grasp and hold the one that was you. I will endure, hide away. I would outrun the how do you say that? The scythe?
The scythe.
Glaring with failure. So it almost sounds
Reaper?
like the Grim Reaper is coming through to either kill her or to kill him, but he's trying to outrun it to get to her. It was mere destiny, I thought, a threshold I had crossed before. The rain was waving goodbye, and when the night came, the forest folded its branches around me. Something passed by, and I went into a dream. She, laughing and weeping at once, take me away. So it almost sounds like, okay, because it kind of seemed like her heart was really dark, and then it was like, could he get into it? Could he, like, get in there? But when the scene closes out, the forest, it's wrapping its branches around him, putting him into a deep sleep. And she laughs and cries at the same time as this is happening to him. So it sounds like she, and then he says, I don't know how or why, and I'll never know when.
He said something passed by and I went into a dream.
Yeah.
I think he died over there.
Well, yeah.
Because he makes allusions to being a ghost. He said up here he had ghost-like rapture. Then he said the final word was mine. And then down here... he goes out into the forest, and then it says, something about he said something passed by him, and then he goes into a dream, and then she laughing and weeping, saying, "Take me away. I don't know how or why, and I'll never know when." So it looks like he's trying to like reconnect with her, but he died in the forest. So she's saying, "Take me away." Maybe it's one of those things like, you know how we watch those near-death experience things, and they'll wake up in the hospital and they'll start talking to their family members, but their family members can't see them anymore because they're out of their body. But so it sounded like that when the forest folded its branches around me. Something passed by. I went into a dream. I'm thinking that is when he died. And then she laughing and weeping at once, saying, "Take me away." She wants to be where he is.
Yeah.
But she can't see him, and it's kind of silly to say "take me away" to somebody who's dead, but at the same time,
yeah, but you thought she was dead at the beginning.
She said she was laughing and weeping simultaneously.
Yeah, you thought she was dead at the beginning, though.
Well, I thought it was her funeral because it says she was swathed in sorrow, and then he talks about the icon. But then he says, "I don't really trust this dream here. I think that's a moment of his death."
So you don't think she's dead?
I don't think she's dead. I think he's dead. And I think he's like trying to find some way. They're both trying to find their way back to each other, it looks like. Because she's saying, "Take me away." But I think the laughter part of the "take me away" thing is that she knows that he can't do that because he's gone, because he's dead.
Yeah, yeah.
But the weeping is obvious. Like, you get really irrational when people die, though. Or I do. Because I'm always like, "Are you sure?" So like, I had one of my. I'm gonna talk about it right now. So yeah, it looked to me like he died, and they're trying to get in contact with each other, and he can't connect with her, but it still leaves the door open, I think. Go ahead, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
He said I would outrun the... So basically he's saying he would outrun the Grim Reaper, glaring with failure.
Uh-huh.
It's
what about
mere
it?
destiny, I thought. A threshold I had crossed before.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it looked like he had come close to death before. But, I don't know. It seems to me that the death got him when he says the forest folded its branches around me. I went into a dream. But you think she's dead, or he's dead, or they're both dead, or nobody's dead? What are you thinking?
Well, I took it as a more literal story like that. I'm like, put it as the bad thing that happened, and then, you know,
so
all
who
this
was
and that.
dead?
So, I didn't
or is
get
anybody
that
dead?
anybody was dead, but that he was actually... Okay, I got that she didn't find healing, so from the things that happened to her, that swathed her in sorrow and born her into this sorrowful mask that brought her beyond the embrace of Christ, when whatever happened there that changed her, that snuffed her out, and all that emptiness followed her, then I got to the point where it was like, I thought he was going into, it was a token of ebony color, so her heart, so I thought he was going in and after pursuing her, but in the end, the forest branches, like, he goes into the forest to try to, you know, the rain was waving goodbye. That's kind of weird. Like, you're going to need rain. And then he goes in and the forest closes around him. I don't think he makes it out of it. So I thought it was like a poetic telling of, like, sort of somebody who has like that, a man who has that savior mentality, and the woman who's destructive. And, you know.
Wait, how's the woman destructive?
Well, she was destructive, but it tells her story that she became that way because emptiness followed in her wake.
Yeah, it doesn't mean she did anything.
No, I'm saying she's almost like dead as a person. Like, she wasn't able to come out of it, and he went in to save her, but he didn't come out.
Where did he go in to save her?
I just got that from going in, okay, when he said, "I will endure," when he talks about going in first, when he says wandering through April's fire, I took all that as her heart. But it was like a poetic telling of, like, using the forest imagery and the different stuff like that to tell, like, he was trying to save this girl. He was trying to get to this girl. But, you know, I probably read way too much into it. He starts
off saying that he's beyond the embrace of Christ, which would imply that he's dead. it implies like some sort of like this is too late type of thing for him because he's beyond the embrace of Christ.
So do you think that he died in a certain state and he's looking at her like she was just born? Maybe it's his daughter?
No, I think that, you know, he liked her and he loved her, and he was just talking about this is who she was. She was born in misery, and they found a way to. They found each other in the midst of all their misery, but now there's some sort of separation. They can't get to each other. I'm just gonna say that he's
her
dead.
Her candlelight snuffed. The icon smiled. That makes it sound like something bad happened to her, and that whoever was doing the bad thing was smirking or smiling when it was happening. That's what I got from that. Her candlelight snuffed, the icon smiled. What icon? Like the icon of her suffering is what I got from that part.
I just took icon as like religious icon because he's using funerary language. Mm-hmm. Candlelight, icon, etc. You know those statues of Mary?
Yeah.
Those are called icons.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, those things always have a smile. Whatever the expression is the expression. You see what I'm saying? So the icon smiled would be like, it's just setting the mood, in my opinion, and it's irony because it's this bad situation, you know, with sorrow and all this, and then you've got an icon that's smiling. It's like out of place,
yeah,
and it kind of shows like the,
and then
not the credulity, but almost the emptiness of religion in a sense, because it's like
the icon itself.
Why are you smirking? You know, like you're just kind of stuck in that moment in time, and it doesn't really meet the moment type of thing.
So then when he said I could clasp her in undying love, he's talking about like
either he's dead or she's dead.
He wants to hold her forever.
Yeah.
And then he said ghost like rapture, the final word was mine.
That to me is like, okay,
he's alive,
he died.
She's dead.
I look at the other way. I took it as he said some last thing to her, and then that was the end of it. Because he says,
I could see that
because he says she faced me in awe. Which if he was a regular living, breathing person, she wouldn't be awestruck by it. But if he was dead, and then he faced her, then she would be in awe for obvious reason.
Yeah, well, what about the token of ebony color? What do you think that is?
Some sort of talisman or something that's black.
Talisman?
You know, a token. It's just a little thing that you give to somebody.
He just gave it to her, you think?
Yeah, well, again, it's a concept record, so maybe they had shared. Maybe he'd given her that for his first present or something, and he's trying to convince her it's really me, you know, whatever. Because, like, if I showed up to you, if I showed up to you in ghost form, like, I don't even think that you'd buy it. I'd be like, okay, tell me something I can do to prove to you it's me.
I know.
You wouldn't buy it. You'd be like, oh, you're a demon. Or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting. That was a good song. I'm gonna give this one a solid 9.
Oh, this is going actually on my playlist. I'm gonna put that one.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I liked it. It's a 9.8 for me.
Here we go.
9.8 for me.
That's all you need to do for this one is just make a bunch of relationship song.
Opeth.
Bunch of relationship song. Yeah, Opeth. Wasn't this the band that did the little jump down for like 5 hours?
Yeah.
That was the end of that band. That should have been the end of that band.
Unbelievable. All right.
We've got one more song for you, bitches.
Amen Corner.
It's from the same band, right?
Yeah, Opeth.
Okay, what did you say?
Amen Corner is the name of the song.
Amen Corner? That's the name of the song?
The Amen Corner.
That's
you know, like at church, there'll be like sometimes the group of people. That
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Let's check it out.
All right, let's check it out. Middle Americans, I'm going to be shooting right after this, so there's that. All right, here we go, guys. The Amen Corner. Let's do it. Lyrics. This is the official one that got blocked. Ave Maria in this bitch. Ave Maria. Here we go. Why can't it be like this all the time? Why's it gotta be all the weird proggy shit? This is metal! I didn't get the lyrics. White Summer. See? I was right. Shit like this. Okay, so that means that the dude definitely died then. Right?
I mean, it appears.
Yeah. Yeah, but then it looks like he resurrected somehow. The final spark that blew life into me, the demon of the fall. So I don't...
Yeah, look, even though you believe that I'm shackled within death.
Right. Memories are tainted with paleness. Crestfallen still. Yeah, so he is dead. Or he's in some sort of state in which everybody would call him dead.
Yeah, listen to this. Those eyes, empty like a barren well. It was the only task I could undertake to reap the harvest that was mine.
Yeah, this boy can
The
write his
seed
ass
that
off.
had sprung into a florid meadow and left me helpless in your embrace, the bond we never spoke of, one stark and enticing.
Do me a favor, go to Genius and pull up this record.
This song or the record?
Just type in Aiming Corner in Genius. This guy, I think every song that we listened to was part of some concept record. Yeah, go all the way down. Okay, so no, all the way down. I just want to see the album track listing.
Sure. There you go.
Oh, see, look. Demon of the Fall.
Yeah.
Look at the last line in this thing. The final spark that blew life into me, the demon of the fall. And then the next song is Demon of the Fall.
Mm-hmm.
So I think every last line
has
the title for the next song. Does that make sense?
Okay, well, we listened to April.
So April Ethereal, right? So go all the way to the end.
You're right. Good
What?
job. It ends with when. Because look, April and Ethereal. When is the next?
Go to Madrigal. Go to when. Go to when. Go to when.
And see if it ends in the.
Holy shit!
Good job.
Okay.
That's impressive.
I'm a
Okay,
gangster.
That's right.
I'm a gangster.
Ben, did you know that? Or did Vin just drop knowledge?
I just revealed some science to all of you
good
people.
Job. Okay.
I am the smartest Negro you know.
Yeah.
My friend's like, ah! You know that Johan look like,
Yeah.
are we allowed or?
Should we?
Yeah, I think that that's done now in America. You guys, everybody can go back to normal now. Like, it's okay. Okay. All right, go for it. White Summer. So far, I have gone to see you again, hiding your face in the palm of your hands, finding solace in the words I do despise. That's probably some religion. That's probably some religious thing. She's probably like reading her Bible or something.
Oh, really?
Trying to get some inspiration. He's looking at her.
Yeah,
Like he's a ghost. He's a ghost stalker.
Yes, and I thought that she was hiding her face in the palm of her hands because she's sad,
Yeah.
and she's finding solace in words that he hates, and I don't know what those words could be.
She's got her hands in her face like this, and she's
could be praying.
She's saying her
It could be.
prayers, and he doesn't like
You
that.
snatch at every sound, and even though you believe that I am shackled within death, memories are tainted with paleness. Crestfallen still. Remember he talked about
still.
above the crest?
Damn you, middle.
Did you?
Of course. I wouldn't pay that much attention to Opeth. What's wrong with you?
You let me, celebrate you and everything.
Well, I never get celebrated in this house. So
Never. Oh my god.
Nothing ever gets done.
Oh my gosh. Come here.
Bible tells you to submit to your husband. You never do it. It's just,
Well, I'll start tonight. All right. Those eyes, empty like a barren well. It was the only task. Right. So now we're into that part.
So he's in her room. She's saying her prayers. And he's like making noise and shit to try to get her attention. You snatch at every sound. So like any little thing that happens, she's like moving around.
Yeah.
He's like, but you think I'm dead. Mm-hmm. He says, you believe that I'm shackled within death. So I never really understood the ghost thing growing up in evangelicalism, because it says it's appointed a man wants to die and after that the judgment.
Yeah.
So this idea that people who die,
Yeah.
they're
In like a...
their spirits, their soul, whatever people want to say, are stuck here for some reason. They didn't finish their life mission, or there's a lesson they didn't learn or whatever, and so they're stuck and they're wandering around, and there's got to be some sort of thing that they do that releases them to go to the good place. I never understood that logic, because as a Christian, it's when you die, your consciousness goes to and it's tough because we say things like goes to, you go to hell, because we operate in a physical universe, and so anytime a state of change happens in the physical world, it's because you went there, or because the state changed on you, namely winter, right? You go from winter to summer, whatever. That's a constant. So it's like, when he's talking about all this stuff, he's crossed a bridge that you cannot come back from when you die. But I was very curious about the concept of some ghost floating around because he's got some stuff to do, or he or she is still attached to someone on the earth and he has to make sure they're okay and all the rest of it. But when we talk about going somewhere, we're just physicalizing something, and I think God looks the other way on it, because all we know is physicality. But if you really bear it down, you say, okay, what is a spirit? You say, okay, a spirit is a non-physical conscious being who can have, real ramifications in the physical world. But as I say, okay, so God is a spirit. He's a non-physical being in his prime. And so when he creates, all that's happening is that he's imagining it. That's it. You're and you get the phrase, in him we live and move and have our being. And so it's like, okay, so you are inside the mental projection of another being, which, again, that is becoming a more and more, believe it or not, guys, that's becoming a more and more mainstream understanding. The hottest scientist, I was just, so there's this woman named Hosbinder or something like that. She's a physicist. I love listening to her because she is more of an Einsteinian traditional physicist. So like all the spooky action at a distance, blah blah, she's not a fan of any of that shit. She grudgingly admits that local realism is dead, but she has a very like conventional understanding of reality and science, and her thing is like, we need to do more looking before we start throwing away physicalism. But it's very hard to maintain physicalism at the quantum level. And so what's interesting, she just posted a video and she said, why I think the universe might be conscious. Okay, well, if you say the universe may be conscious, please tell me, dear listener, what the difference is between a conscious universe and a conscious God.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever the universe is quote-unquote made of, it had to be non-physical initially, because we know that physicality had a birth date. It was like 20.5 billion years ago or something like that. So whatever the universe is then, you're basically saying that the universe is a non-physical being that can think, that has a will and motivation, and because of that we're here. You want to take the term God away and put the universe in there for the same reason that Crick would rather believe that an alien created it than God. Because an alien is not going to hold you accountable for your bullshit. Yeah. And the universe certainly is not going to hold you accountable for your bullshit. So it's a very, very convenient way. But I do think like the we're watching in real time the destruction of an iteration of a certain kind of worldview. And that's why that dude was talking to Hoffman and saying, if I can't explain, if you're right, then we no longer have an explanation for apparent design. Like, he was desperate.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is one of those brilliant people on the face of the earth. And he is not saying, oh, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. What he's saying is, if this is true,
we have a problem.
I have an and he was like in crisis. Like I'm gonna show the tape in the Bible Boogie, but it's
you should.
When you talk about like suppressing the truth and unrighteousness, like a person being so explicit about, I can't believe this because if I do, it's gonna lead me to a personal creator, and then I'm gonna have to live my life according to the dictates of his will. Like, people ain't trying to hear. That's her name, Sabine Hosfendler. There it is. Yeah. I like listening to her because she's not as excited about all the new stuff that everybody else. Like, she's like, wait a second. Like, what are you guys doing? No, the moon is not being rendered because you look at it, you know, yada, yada, yada. She's holding on for dear life, but she reminds me of all them, like, Christian scientists that were around when Darwin started coming around. And it was clear that Darwin had the data. He was onto something. And the Christian scientists at the time were like, this doesn't gel with this. This doesn't gel with this theological interpretation. So now we're going to go and crucify Darwin as like this horrible, terrible, he's the source of all the evil in the world and all the rest of it. Ridiculous! Ridiculous. Darwin, I'm pretty sure, was against slavery, for God's sake. So that's not it. But like, if you look at this for one moment and say, okay, let's say that the physicalists are wrong and the world is actually made up of consciousness. Let's say that consciousness is a fundamental thing. We know that physicality wasn't we know that matter is not the fundamental thing. So let's say consciousness is a fundamental thing. If consciousness is fundamental, then communication between living people and dead people becomes really a long distance kind of phone call, and maybe not even that long distance, because the theory is that both of these dimensions are simultaneously on top of each other, because dimensions are not made of material. Even when we talk about dimensions, we're going to physicalize it and materialize it because we have no other way of understanding it. But my point in saying all this is to say, if that's true, then it makes a lot of sense that you can have these cross-dimensional conversations, and it opens up a lot of scientific understanding for what a demon is, what an angel is, blah, blah, blah.
I still think that
there's supposed to be a UFO landing on TV by 2027, by the way, guys. Like,
I still think that there needs to be like a warning basically set out, because I don't think it's just as simple as that. Like, I think that, you know, the interdimensional beings, the, you know, ghosts, whatever, demons, whatever you want to call them, like, they have an agenda, and the agenda is not, it's not good. It's not for you. It's for their agenda. So I just think, you know, like,
but you can really get somebody, especially in a situation like this. Like, if I was a hostile intelligence and I'm like, hey, your cousin or your friend that you just lost, you could still talk to her.
Yeah.
And yada, yada, yada. Like,
yeah.
That's kind of what's being played out here. And it's a real, I think if you don't have an understanding of God and the afterlife and all the rest of it, I think it's very hard to reconcile how these connections are so powerful at an unspeakable level, and then try to whittle it all down to mechanistic processes. So it's like, oh, you don't really love your baby. This emotion you feel was developed for millions of years as a selection pressure to make sure that you could continue to replicate Homo sapiens. So when you hold your baby, there isn't any like unspoken transcendent love that you have for them that's really existent. All that is nature giving you an endorphin rush when you're holding your child, so that it makes it more likely that the child survives. So everything gets broken down into some mechanistic way of looking at things. But death is one of those things that you can't do that with. Because it's like, this person who meant so much to you, now that they're gone, if that theory is true, you shouldn't feel anything. Because the whole thing was about replicating other humans.
Yeah.
So just go replicate with somebody else.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is that love that you have, let's take a mom, that love that she has for her child to go and put forth the progeny, that child dies in some horrible fashion. She's more likely to get divorced. Couples are more likely to get divorced after the death of a child, etc., etc. So continuing to love that child after death, or that wife after death, is detrimental to natural selection. And so, like, that's the problem that ends up happening. It's like, okay, well, if this is only for natural selection, then why haven't we evolved to say, well, they're not there anymore, and just move on? Like, you don't, that happens with cars. The car doesn't work, you buy a new car. And the only thing you think about is, like, you just go, oh man, I gotta buy another car. Evolution didn't make it so that you fell in love with your car and you died for your car and all the rest of it. You could have a mom in her 20s. This has happened to millions of women. You have a mom in her 20s, and she loses her first child, and she jumps off a bridge. That woman was in her 20s. She could have gave us 3 or 4 more kids. Right? Like, the mechanistic understanding for everything does not. It's logical, although they'll say things like life will find a way. Mm-hmm. That was, I think it's Carl Sagan was the big guy. Life will find a way.
Yeah, it was all over Jurassic Park.
But again, it's like, okay, life will find a way. That's interesting. So where did this principle of life come from?
Exactly.
Because it seems
and
like
why
they're
does it
saying,
have a will?
Yeah, exactly.
To a way.
Exactly.
And what is the goal of that way?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that are just left unanswered.
Yeah, and I think that people can intuit that the idea that that's the only thing going on with mom and baby at the time is just not true. It is true, but it's not the complete truth. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that people want to mechanize everything. I don't know if they want to or not, but they assume, the mechanized universe because all people know is physicalism on the scientific part. So they don't understand that physicalism in itself is a faith claim.
Yeah.
Like, I hope you understand. If you're an atheist, like, I'm not mad at you. I'm glad that you're here. But physicalism, the idea that matter came first before everything else, it is from that presupposition that all of their data gets interpreted. I don't think people understand that. So it's like, oh, no, we know the age of the universe by redshift and blue shift. No, you don't. Mm-hmm. You have the data that you are interpreting through a certain presupposition that cannot be falsified. Mm-hmm. Although I do believe that physicalism can be logically falsified. But that's one of the things. Like, I'm actually trying to set up a debate right now.
Nice.
But I'm having a very hard time finding a partner because I'm like, I'm going to attack physicalism and you have to justify it. Now, a lot of atheists are used to being on the attack. Mm-hmm. They're not used to having to defend anything. Mm-hmm. And so they say, there could be a God, there couldn't be a God, I don't know. Mm-hmm. They think that unburdens them from the burden of proof. And so, for a couple years, I'd be like, how do I get around that? Because I knew what they were doing, because they don't want to have an actual rigorous debate. But now I figured it out. You just go through the physicalism section. Are you a physicalist? Yes. Matter came before consciousness in life? Yes. Good. Now, defend that in the debate, because that is a positive claim. Mm-hmm. That is a positive claim. Defend an atheist. Nobody wants a debate now. Mm-hmm.
The other thing with having, like, the physical stuff as your, like, primary understanding of everything is that you make really bad mistakes in relationships. So you think about, like, the relationship that a mom has with her teenagers. Like, physically, they can agree to what you're asking them to do.
Yep.
And they can go along and do whatever, take out the trash and do this. But inwardly, there can be something really going on with them. And they can go and do the things that you're saying to 100%. do, but there's obviously something. So the physical, like, it's really not the most important thing. The most important thing is the unseen. And the physical gives us a peek into the unseen. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but in this situation, this guy obviously still loves this girl, and they have some sort of connection because she is still feeling him in the room.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting, because even though I don't understand the ghost thing per se, I do believe that, when I hear ghost stories, that people are experiencing some sort of phenomena. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And those things are easily matched with theology. You can say, for example, a familiar spirit, meaning you have a guardian angel. That's an angel that's assigned to you from birth to death. Presumably, then you would also have a demon. And the demon would be there in your life from birth to death, right? So the demon knows all these personal things that you think are totally private. So they go to a medium, and the demon says, oh yeah, you used to eat, Fruit Loops at 2:30 every morning, blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh my God, nobody could have known that. Right? Because we're going to say, because I didn't see this person in the room, then I was by myself.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Even in the physical world, we know that's true. That's not true. If we had a time machine, and I planted a bug into somebody's house in the 1800s, right? Because they can't see it, they would believe that they're in the room alone. And there is a sense in which physically they are in the room alone, but there's another sense in which they're not alone. They're in a room of like 500 people, right? Because we've got this bug and everybody in the agency is hearing you talk. So there's one sense in which you're alone and another sense in which you're with 500 people at the same time. And so if you ran into a really simplistic person in the 1800s and you bugged their room, there is nothing you could tell them to explain to them that they're actually out in public. Because they don't have a category for even that kind of a dimension. And so, like, human beings are so crazy. It's like we can see very clearly that. But then they say, well, then it can't happen to us in any way. Huh? What do we... Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, if I can't see it, then it's not real. Which is... Nobody believes that. No, none of you have ever seen an atom. Well, I look through a magnifying glass. How do you know that's an atom in the first place? And how do you know the next thing that you look at is going to be exactly the same? Like, there's a lot of things that we do not know with a capital K. But in this song, I thought it was really, really interesting because he was there, but he was not there. And I think that that's probably where I fall with the ghost stuff. That they're here in some sense, in the same way that, you know, you put that bug in the phone and then we're in the room with him. In one sense, but not in the room with him in another sense. I think that that's what goes on here. So even though I don't believe in the exact narrative of the ghost story, as in like this person's stuck or whatever, I do believe something is happening, and the people that have those experiences are not liars or crazy or drunk or high.
I agree.
I just don't know what it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And
I don't know where to put it.
That's sort of my, like, I think we got to be really careful with something like that, because regardless, there's something of a realm that we are unfamiliar with that is having its extensions into the physical world,
right,
and having its influence on you. So it's like, okay, why, who, what's going on here? Is this? And so you want to be really careful with something like that, because it's outside of our wheelhouse almost. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but the lyricism from this guy is crazy.
Yeah,
really, really crazy lyricism, because he
yeah, you
can hang out on the ghost stuff and the spiritual stuff, but I don't know, most of the time I was just like, man, he's really obsessed with this girl, bro. Like, it would be because I'd be like, okay, yeah, if I died, like, I'd be like the most unhealthy ghost of all time. I'd just be around you and shit, like, who the fuck is this thing? You see what I'm saying? Like, God be like, well, do you want to come here? Like, we got some stuff over here. I'm like, I'll be with you in a second. I gotta figure out what this nigga's trying to do with my girlfriend.
You're so cute.
It's like, I can bring you to paradise, man. Bring you to Muslim paradise. A lot of girls there. No, you just want to stay with this.
Hey!
Okay. I'm gonna give this one a 9.4. 9.4.
This one, 9 for me.
I was ready to average 7s for this stream, because I don't play around. I do not play around.
You kept announcing it at the beginning.
Yeah, but he made some good selections. He made some really good stuff. Good for you. I have not in any way, shape, or form moved in my conviction that prog is horrible. But I didn't really feel like a lot of these songs were proggy. I know that Opeth is a proggy band, but they didn't do any of the pretentious proggy stuff that proggy people always do. So, shout out to you, but I haven't changed my mind on Opeth, and I haven't changed my mind on prog.
Well, there you have it. Another one in the books, you guys. DJ Ben, who brought this amazing stream to us.
Yes, DJ Ben and his
Check out the list on Patreon if you want to know when the next streams coming up are, and there are a lot of Patreon streams coming up. So
coming up.
Yep.
Look at that thing.
All right,
I think
you guys.
every day. We got one every day on the thing.
I think so, yeah.
And the other thing too is, like, we don't work on Saturdays. Right. So shout out to Ben. Ben got you guys. Ben got you guys a Saturday stream, because Saturday is usually date day.
Right.
So Ben got us on the got us on a Saturday. What happened? He sent the last minute email or some shit like that?
Well, I saw it, and I think I didn't see it right away when he sent it, so then I responded, and you were like, wait, who? I was like, DJ Ben. You're like, well...
Yeah. You should have said that part. You should have said that part. But, I mean,
anyway, we have to go.
We would have done it with anyone.
It's time for us to leave.
It's time for us to... Salam Lek. Thanks for getting me in before your epic week next week. Yeah. You guys are going to be tired of us. What did Trump say? You're winning so much, you're going to get tired of winning. You're going to get tired of winning.
You'll be begging us to stop.
Yeah. Is that what they say? You'll be begging for us to stop winning so much?
Yep, you're begging us. All right.
Listen to this guy. Ben Bear. Also, football quarterfinals. No football fan has ever used the term quarterfinals ever. My God, Ben. Check out my text, bro. Okay, I will check it out. All right, guys. Much love to all of you.
We'll leave on that note of embarrassment.
Are you guys covering the inauguration? Yeah, I am going to cover the inauguration. I'm actually going to go to Middle America right now. So I got some stuff to talk about at Middle America. I'll check you beautiful people on the other side of the break. Everybody else, love your neighbor, take care of each other. Like, share, comment, subscribe.
You know the drill.
We will see you very, very soon.
Vin
out.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch. Sori out. Vin out. Gone.